It is. There goes the full-time whistle. Drogheda United's superb start to the season continues once again. They have taken 4 points now from 2 games against the defending champions. A win at Talca Park earlier on this season, and twice tonight they took the lead against Shelbourne. And they remain on a really upward curve this season, the league leaders. From the defending champions' point of view, Damien Duff will be happy that his side showed some real battling qualities to twice get themselves back in this game. They had chances as well to score more goals. They had chances to win it, but it is a point for the defending champions tonight against Drogheda United. Really difficult playing conditions, but it has finished in this battle between the league leaders and the defending champions in a point apiece. Full time here, Drogheda United 2, Shelbourne 2.
Yeah, that is a very big point for Drogheda in particular. They dug deep in that second half. They challenged Shelbourne to break them down. Keith Treacy, you imagine Kevin Doherty would be fairly satisfied with that second half performance and the point they got from it.
Yeah, I think Kevin Doherty would be absolutely over the moon when you break down the stats of the game. Shelbourne were by and far the much better team, had better chances at the lion's share of the ball. Just in the second half alone, Shelbourne had 83% of the ball in that second half, and that's only 17% for Drogheda. Drogheda no shots on target in the second half. Not really an attacking force, but defended really well. And look, we all know Drogheda are a difficult team to beat, and they just reinserted that fact. And
for Damien Duff, Ian, you could see him hopping along the sideline there, as he often is. Plenty of frustration, especially when Keith says they had so much control, so much possession in that second half just to come away with a point.
Yeah, I think over, like Keith said, they had so much ball, they had good chances. But you looked at it in the second half and they just kept having to recycle the ball, going from side to side. They didn't really have any through balls. They didn't get anyone in between the centre halves. They didn't pin centre backs, play off them, little bounce passes. So I think he would have been liking them to be a little more clinical, a little bit more clever around their box. But I think with tonight, how Drogheda are in the league, a point away from home, the weather the way it was, I think he'll take a point and he'll be okay.
Do we need to stop talking about Drogheda? Can they hang on? Will they still be there? It's another match night gone now and they're still top of the league.
Well, I'm still unconvinced that they'll be there at the end of the season, to be honest. But the Pats game on Monday is a big game. Obviously, Drogheda are at home. But the fact that they've got a point tonight is a very good point, but only a good point if they go and take all 3 against St. Pat. So it's a big game on Monday. And the fact that we're having this conversation, I mean, I was hotly tipping Drogheda to struggle this season. So the fact that they've had the best defence in the league, the second best attack, you know, they've been unbelievable this season. And Kevin Doherty and Drogheda deserve all the plaudits in the world so far.
Many people were tipping them to struggle, Ian, but when you look at that performance tonight, when you see other teams that have gone to Sullivan and Lambe Park, not many teams will get much change out of Drogheda tonight.
No, and the big risk for them is that 11 that they have on the pitch. How long can they stay available for them? And it's very difficult to sustain defending your 18-yard box for 80, 90 minutes of a game. They're brilliant when they do go forward. They don't control the ball enough. It's going to be hard to sustain that for the rest of the season. I'm sure Kevin has already been in the ear of the owners. Give me a chest to go to war with in the summer. Bring in some more quality, improve the squad. But they've been absolutely fantastic, resilient, strong, taking chances when they've got them. Yeah,
particularly when European football comes into play, Keith. You would imagine they'll have to get reinforcements in there.
Yeah, as Ian says, the starting 11 for Drogheda is quite strong. You look at the bench and it's not quite as strong. The levels do come down a bit, and you would imagine when Europe rolls around, that squad will become a little bit more stretched, and any sort of injuries will really hamper this Drogheda team. But take nothing away from what Drogheda and Kevin Doherty are doing has been exceptional.
OK, we'll have a closer look at it after the break. We do have a quick break to take. Sambone and involved at both ends, an own goal in the first half, but he came up trumps in the second half for the equaliser. Analysis and reaction to that 2-2 draw on the way from Keith and Ian. Now we have more Women's Six Nations action to bring you this weekend. Tomorrow, it's the meeting of England and Scotland at Welford Road. The build-up to that one begins at 4:35, and we will round up all the rest of the action, including Ireland's trip to Wales, from 7 o'clock in our highlights show on Sunday night. Also this weekend, we have live national hunt racing from Musselburgh in Scotland, where the Queen's Cup is the feature race. We're live from 1:30 on Virgin Media 1 tomorrow for that one. But at Sullivan and Lambe Park tonight, it has finished 2-2 between Shelbourne and Drogheda United. A point apiece. Let's hear from the player of the match. Kerr McInroy is standing by with Will Dalton.
Kerr, congratulations. First of all, you are the SSE Treacy player of the match. Talk to me, a 2-2 draw, is that a point gained or 2 points dropped, do you think?
I think it's 2 points dropped. I thought we dominated the game throughout, and we created a lot of chances. We just never took any more. We conceded 2 really sloppy goals, which we're disappointed about. But yeah, definitely 2 points dropped.
First half especially, you dominated possession, but then a slip and a deflection and you come in 2-1 down. Yeah, we were very disappointed at half time. We come in, we felt like we dominated the first half, so we were really disappointed to come in 2-1 down. It was good to get the goal at the start of the second half, but sadly we couldn't get another. The second half, yeah, you stuck to your task and again dominated, kept the pressure on, and Sam made amends. Yeah, I'm delighted for him to get his goal. He's obviously been out injured for a while, so I'm delighted he got his goal. Drogheda seem to be a very hard team to break down. They seem to invite pressure and then hit teams on the break. It's not just the way they play. Did you find it particularly tough? There was some close or long-range shots from yourself, which went very close. Yeah, it's the third time we've played them this season, and each time it's been a really difficult game. They kind of sit in and soak up the pressure, and they carry a counter-attack threat. So it's kind of up to us to break that down, and sadly we've never done enough tonight. Game's coming thick and fast though. Galway next, so move on to that and focus. It'll already turned, I suppose, very quickly to trying to get 3 points. Yeah, it's a quick turnaround, so it's all about recovery going into Monday and hopefully another chance of getting 3 points. Kerr, congratulations on their performance. Thanks very much. Cheers.
All right, let's get into the analysis then. We wanted to talk about a man who was hugely involved at both ends tonight. Sam Bowen, his first start since February. Ian, he had a tough first half, but from his point of view, he'll be delighted with getting Shells back into the game in the second half. He will.
He'd be buzzing with that. Kerr McInroy mentioned it there. He's had a tough run of injuries the last few years, Sam Bowen, and he's just really unfortunate here. The sniper comes out. He would have comfortably dealt with the striker and got out to him, stopped him getting the shot, would take nothing away from Warren Davis's finish at the end to squeeze it in at the near post. But he would have been kicking himself there, and he would have been trying to make things up, and it comes to the edge of the box here. And it's just the instinct. You stick your leg out, you see it coming. It's a lovely strike as well from Lambe, and it just comes off his foot. Like, of all the places to go, he would have been wanting to make amends, and this is what he would have wanted. Ball coming in, his eyes would have opened nice and bright, and it's a decent header skipping off the ground. But if you look at big Keeley here, looking at the ball, square on, no idea where Sam Bowen is, he'll be so disappointed with that, because if there's any man you wanted a 1v1 battle with to defend your own box, you would want Conor Keeley as that man. And he just gets his body shape all wrong, doesn't know where Bowen is, but Bowen will be licking his lips there, and he'd be delighted to have saved his team. So much desire for him to get in there at the back post. You saw from the celebration as well, Keith, what it meant to him. But just listen to Kerr McInroy there. The frustration is clear to see. He said it's 2 points dropped, and with the chances Shells had, Damien Duff would be expecting to come away from this one with the 3 points.
Yeah, they had much the better chances, and as you said, it was an OG and a slip that really let Drogheda in, and Drogheda didn't have an awful lot of an attacking play, so I'm sure Damien Duff will be disappointed. But when you get a chance within the first 30 seconds of a game, Becco for me should be taking that with his left foot, and that when the ball wiggles free again, he just dangles a lazy right foot at it. He should be hitting that with his left foot. Again, an easier technique would be to take that down with your left foot. He does okay with the right, and Chapman has a bit of a snapshot that just goes wide. So again, this one is really unforgivable. He has a little slip, he's trying to pull out, but he's just got to steady himself, get his knee over the ball and just get that under the crossbar. And Shelbourne got themselves into these positions an awful lot. Ledwich decided just to take a strike on there. It was a decent chance, but this is where they really miss Sean Boyd. In these areas, they can whip it into Sean Boyd. Drogheda, I would assume, would come out and engage because you don't want those balls going in. But this again, when Shelbourne do look like they've
bodies
opened
on
up
the line, stuff from Drogheda.
Bodies on the line, and this is what you expect. The 3 big centre halves are more than willing to get hit with the ball. They want to. Dennison, I'm not quite sure what he's doing here. A little floaty ball, and look, Becco is there, and again the finish is not quite up to scratch. And Damien Duff will be thinking we've had 4 or 5 really big chances there and enough to win the game, but not defensively good enough.
OK, let's get a bit of reaction then from the Drogheda camp. Kevin Doherty is speaking to Will.
Kevin, 2-2 this evening. Are you happy with the point against the defending champions?
Yeah, probably am, because I don't think it was our best performance. Shelbourne obviously changed their shape, and it did cause us a lot of trouble, to be fair. we had to readjust and probably change ours a little bit. It's just something you have to do because, again, a lot of people talk about us and how set up we are, and other teams are going to try different things to try and go against that. So, look, we showed a massive amount of characters tonight because, again, I don't think it was our best performance at all, but we dug it out and had to make blocks. And yes, I'm very disappointed with the 2 goals we conceded. I'm sure they may be the same with their 2 goals. But yeah, look, the point, as you said, against the champions, that's 4 we've taken off them in the first 2 games.
Well, we look at the first half and they did dominate possession in long spells and that, but you came in at half-time 2-1 up. You were clinical in the chances that you got.
Yeah, well, we sort of had to be, and look, we got away with one. I think me both put one over the bar, and I said, and this is the players as well. Like, Shelbourne are a very good team, and there's so many really good teams in this league. We're not going to have our own way every game, and but when you're like that, it's so important not to lose. And these lads show great character, great determination. Not exactly an unbelievable night to play football in, but I thought we dealt with it well. Yes, of course, you're disappointed. You can see the back from a set piece and the back post. And look, the odd time these things happen, and you don't accept it. You just try and correct it, which we will. But no, I'm very proud of the effort, and as you say, it's a point against the champions.
Was the message at half-time, let's try and grind this out, do exactly what we do, soak up the pressure and then hit them?
No,
on the break?
I thought we had to be a little bit better at what we do. Like, do what we do, but there's no point in just doing a half-baked, that's the word you use, but I thought we had to be a bit more aggressive. I thought we had to win more duels. I thought we had to get in their faces a little bit more. We were, at times, our 3 lines where they're normally, whether they're up or they're back, but they were too fragmented. They weren't doing it together. So we changed a few things. Worked a bit better in the second half. But as I said, at the end of it, probably we're happy enough to take the point.
And finally, quickly then, big games coming thick and fast. Pat's next. You're still top of the league, though.
Yeah, well, that's good. I'm only after hearing the results now. So, look, it's a long way. But it's excellent that it just shows if we've lost one of the games and said we're going quite well.
Kevin, congratulations on the points and enjoy the birthday.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
Thanks.
Yeah, decent birthday present for Kevin Doherty, picking up a point against the champions. Ian, you picked out this piece that you said kind of sums up the night. There's been a lot of talk about how Shelbourne are getting a lot more respect this season as champions, and they've had that struggle to try and break teams down.
Yeah, like Kev just mentioned it there, what they do, they know what they do as a Drogheda team. They drop off, they hit you on the counter, they're ruthless. And you see here, everyone behind the ball and they're so deep. And Shells are looking here, can we prod? Can we get someone to come short to us? Can we get someone in a little pocket? Is there a little slip ball that I can, maybe a little outside of the foot, or you can slide someone between the defenders at the back? But they have to be really patient here. And you've got balls going into the box. Norris, not the greatest header in the world, but they're pumping it in there. They've not got their Sean Boyd, and this is what Drogheda do. They sit back, wait to win the ball and counter, and Davis does so well to get by Lunny. He drives into the box. Well, if you watched the United game last night, you'd have said yeah after that decision. But he's done really well here to keep driving, and he's in between them. I've seen them given. I don't think any Shelbourne player gets a touch on that ball there. I think he's unlucky not to get the decision his way, but that summed up the game in the second half. Shell's just recycling the ball left to right, can't get the ball, or not real quality numbers high up the pitch in the box, and Drogheda just soaked everything up.
Very quickly, Keith, penalty for you?
Not for me. No, I don't think Kyle made any sort of contact with Davis. It was a great run, but not a penalty. Just ran out of steam in the end.
All right then, time for a quick break. When we come back, a roundup from around the grounds tonight. It's goals all the way from here. Don't go anywhere. Okay, lots more League of Ireland coming up over the next few weeks. Don't forget, on Easter Monday, we are on air earlier than usual, 1:30 for the Dublin Derby between Bows and Rovers. Next Friday, well, it's another Dublin Derby on the cards, and this time it's Shells heading to Tala. And on Friday, May 2nd, we are in Sligo for the meeting of Rovers and Drogheda. All right then, let's hear from Damien Duff, who's been speaking with Will Dalton.
Damien, 2-2 on a difficult night to play football. Are you happy with the point or disappointed not to have got more?
Disappointed, 2 points dropped for whatever the game was, 100 minutes long. Thought we were the best team on the pitch for 100 minutes. Outside of that, obviously 2 comedy goal moments, unacceptable. Defending the goals you give away, you'll never win a league again with that. But no, it's the best we've ever played up here. Dominated the game from start to finish at probably the most difficult away ground in the country. So from that point of view, yeah, very proud, very happy, but for sure 2 points dropped.
First half, you dominated possession, but you came in 2-1 down at the break. Were you a bit shocked by that?
Shocked, but we were calm. But nonsense goals, goals that I have no time for, and goals, you know, guys maybe feeling sorry for themselves. No, don't. And on top of that, so it's, you could say the final third of the pitch and obviously the bottom third conceded 2 awful goals, and our finishing being stone cold killers up the top end of the pitch. Again, a difficult place, create a lot of chances, didn't put them away.
You're proud of your players on the second half. They did grind it out. They did get an equaliser for you and stuck to their task to try and get something out of the game.
Well, it's what we deserved. Like I said, utter dominance. I think the whole game was played in this area we're stood in now. It's hard a thing to do, so it's always a sign of a top team. I absolutely believe, watching the game there, and when I watch it back later tonight, we looked a top team tonight. Outside of them, 2 absolutely unacceptable moments.
Disappointing though, it is quickly move on to Galway next. Is that a positive thing that you can quickly turn that around and try and get 3 points there?
Yeah, well, anyone at home or away, but yeah, another big game, and it's all about being a top professional for the next couple of days. What you do in the dark is seen in the light, so we need to absolutely bounce into Monday full of beans.
Damien, thanks.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Strong words there from Damien Duff. He's never really afraid to send a message to his players through these interviews. What does that do to a player in the dressing room? You're seeing that come through on your phone.
I think he's spot on. I think everything he said there is absolutely right. Shelbourne were the better team. They conceded goals that they shouldn't have conceded. They had over 700 passes tonight, and Drogheda are down under 200. So it just goes to show you how comfortable Drogheda are out of possession. So I don't think Shelbourne asked enough questions. And when you think about the amount of possession they had, Drogheda only had moments in the game to go and hurt them, and they were able to do that. So that's why Duff won't be too happy.
He's looking for a big reaction on Monday, isn't he, from his players with that kind of talk? Yeah,
he needs it. And that's been the mentality since he's gone in there. He's driven his players. He's been very honest. He's no problem standing in front of the cameras and sending a message to the dressing room. But the players will know that themselves. I think you got that off Kerr McInroy when he spoke as well. Straight away, it was 2 points dropped. No problem with it. He didn't want to elaborate too much on his answers. They'll be hurting in there because they have that drive. They want to go back to back in their titles. They want to be right there in the mix towards the end of the season. And if you've got to do that, you've got to be taking chances. When you've got over, 700-800 passes in a game, you've created the chances that they've created, you should be walking away from games with 3 points.
All right, then let's get a little bit more reaction from Drogheda. Their goal scorer tonight, Warren Davis, is standing by with Will.
A goal for you tonight, 2-2 draw. On the manager's birthday, a point. Satisfied with that?
Yeah, you know, the way that Shells came out today, you know, they were very up for it. Like, we went in there, we stuck to our game plan, but they came out with something different what we weren't ready for. But you know, we'll take the point here.
Well, they dominated possession in the first half. As you said, they did set up differently. Kevin has talked about that. But you were clinical and you went in 2-1 up at the break.
Yeah, you know, possession really hasn't been our strong suit this year, as I think the stats show. But in front of the goal, we've shown we're clinical. You know, we scored 2 goals, even though we weren't at our best tonight. But the defending, you know, the whole season, our defending has been unbelievable. But tonight, I think it was 2 sloppy goals, you know. But I'm just happy to get on the score sheet.
Yourself and Thomas up front certainly inject pace into the team. Talk to us about your goal and what was going through your mind.
I seen the ball just go to Tom and I said, right, Tom has him 1v1, so I'll just make my way into the box. Tom shoots. It's a great save, to be fair, to Kearns, but I've just followed in as any striker would, and I've just slotted into the bottom corner.
We can see it in your face. 4 from 4 now. I think it's your 5th of the season.
Yeah.
You must be, is this the form of your life? Do you feel just confident every time you get in the pitch now you're going to score?
100%. I think I'm in the form of my life, as you said, but it's down to the manager. The manager's giving me the belief. The team is feeding into what I want. You know, the long balls suit me, the pacing behind, but yeah, what was it, 4 for 4? It's unbelievable at the minute. I think I only scored 3 last year and 4 in the first 9 games, so it's unbelievable.
I have to ask you about this team that Kevin has created, because there wasn't much expected, I think, to be fair, at the start of the season. You're now top of the table at this point in the season. Is it fair to say the Drogheda are in the mix now for this title? Have you changed your sights? And
it's very early to say. You know, we're the underdogs, as everybody says, but you know, with the team that Kev's put this year, it's a great lads. Like there's no moaning, there's no any of that. It's a great bunch. We get in the morning, we have a laugh, we do our work, and then I think it's shown on the pitch every week. But we're just happy to sit at the top after 10 games.
Certainly is, Sean. Congratulations on your goal tonight.
Thank you very much.
Well done.
Thank you very much.
The underdogs, that feels like something that might catch on. But from Drogheda to Richmond Park, that's our next venue as we look at the match between Pats and Rovers tonight. Well, it was Stephen Kenny's side that took control of this one just after the half-hour mark. Mason Melia found himself free at the back post and finished that one nicely. But the lead was short-lived. Jack Byrne equalised for Rovers. He was quickest to react after Graham Burke's shot had been saved by Joey Anang. Well, after that, the game was only getting started, and the drama it delivered late on. Lee Grace in the 88th minute thought he had won the game with that header for Rovers, but in the dying embers, it was another header, this time for Pats. Joe Redmond rescued a point for the home side. 2-2 is how it finished at Richmond Park. At Derry City, we're out west to take on Galway United, and it was the visitors that took an early lead. Danny Mullins putting them ahead just after 17 minutes with that quick reaction. Galway got back into it just before the break. A long ball forward, and it was Pat Hickey on the end of it. Derry City, though, they roared into action in the second half. Robbie Benson restored the lead with a fantastic strike early in the second half. Galway were down to 10 men. A minute later, Cian Byrne sent off for a second yellow. Played the rest of the second half with 10. And new signing Gavin White extended Derry's lead deep into injury time. That looked to make sure of all 3 points. Well, there was something left in Galway. They never gave up, and in the 97th minute, they pulled one back through Vincent Boredom. But it was too little, too late. 3-2 to Derry, the final score. Dalymount Park next, and the only goal in that game between Bows and Cork City came with just 5 minutes remaining. It was James McManus that gave the home side all 3 points with that strike late on. A big win there for Bows. And our final match this evening is at the RSC between Waterford and bottom of the table Sligo Rovers. And despite a tough start to the season, John Russell's side took the lead in this one. Gareth McElroy finding the net. Things got even better for Sligo minutes later. Some nice build-up play. McElroy involved again. His perfect cross found the head of Owen Elding, and he got his 4th goal of the season. And it got worse for Waterford when Kyle White was sent off. Sligo piled on more misery. They made it 3 at the RSC just after the hour. Cian Kavanagh grabbing the goal to punish the error. And just when you thought it couldn't get any better for Sligo, well, it did. Francie Lombozo rounding off a superb away performance for Sligo Rovers in what was a much-needed win. So confirmation then of all of tonight's results. That big win for Bows, doing plenty for them. It was 2-2, of course, in our live game here on Virgin Media 2 between Drogheda United and Shelbourne. A big win for Derry on the road too at Galway. 2-2 late drama at Richmond Road, and Sligo Rovers 4, Waterford 0. Here's what that all means then for the table. Well, it's very much as you were at the top. Drogheda still sitting pretty. Pats and Rovers just a point behind them, and Shells still 2 points off. I suppose there's only one place to start then. The result that really stands out tonight. What a performance from Sligo Rovers, and on the flip side, plenty of pressure now on Waterford. Yeah,
huge win for John Russell and the Sligo team. Unfortunately, you flip the script there, and that's 6 on the bounce now for Waterford. That's going to be a tough dressing room tonight. Have to pick ourselves up, get themselves ready, because Monday's game is going to be so important for them now to kind of kick away, not get cut adrift at the bottom of the table. But John Russell will be delighted with that away performance. And quickly then, big win for Bows, much needed. Yeah, much needed. You did fear for Alan Reynolds the longer that Bows kept going. And the disappointing thing with Bows is I seen them in the Aviva the opening weekend. They were absolutely brilliant, the 2 centre-halves, Cornwall, Mousset, the Devoy, but they've just been patchy, and it seems to have rolled in from last season. So good from Bows tonight, but
patchy overall.
Yeah, there is something there though. Well, we are at time though. My thanks to Keith and Ian for their insight and their analysis tonight. A point in the rain for Shells is a good Friday. Drogheda is still top of the league. Well, that's a great Friday. Bye for now.